to the track, the wall, makes the leap, and makes the catch! Amazing catch by Junior! He got it! A perfect game! 13 strikeouts! Line pitching out towards straightaway center field, drifting out toward right center, shot at the wall, leaps up, and he makes the catch! Mike Trout with another spectacular grab! There is out number 2. Bonds hit play high. Hits it deep. It is out of here. 7:56. What a special moment for Barry Bonds. Swinging a long drive. Deep to right. Going. Goodbye. He has done it. He has changed the game of the night.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Champions Adjust podcast, becoming hopefully your premier baseball podcast. We cover everything from short hops to bat flips, but specifically we are interested in youth baseball as we both participate and are heavily involved in youth baseball. So that is the main focus of this pod. But we are back here. We're still part of season 2 of the Champions Adjust podcast, but this is kind of a special episode. We haven't dropped one in a while, but we wanted to kind of catch up with you guys. There's some life updates. We have some new listeners, some new followers. So we want to kind of reintroduce the podcast to you before we get into our special postseason edition of Champions Adjust pod. And we kind of miss doing this. Yes. We've had some few things in our life that have been really awesome. So we haven't had time to really sit down and talk and chat. We've seen each other at practice and a few special occasions, but we wanted to do this specifically to talk to you guys about what's going on. Coach Bodzin?
We actually got to a point where hey, let's do this next week, and then the next week rolls through oh shoot, we didn't even talk.
Yeah.
And then it's we have to do it next week, and then next week happens. Oh shoot, I forgot because life's so busy right now.
So busy.
It's a great thing, right?
It is.
Yeah.
Well, what do you got, Coach? What's new?
Not much, man.
Well, let's start with the gear that you're wearing.
Yeah, let's start with the gear.
So if you're watching via YouTube, you can see that the colors that Coach Bodzin is wearing are not the original Champions Adjust colors.
Lulu likes this a lot better, by the way. She doesn't like this on the black. She's like, what is that?
This is supposed to be navy.
I know it is.
Yeah, okay.
What was going on? But it's not, is it?
It is navy.
Is it? Okay, cool.
Yeah, it's navy.
All right, fair.
But anyways, yeah, so you can see if you're watching via YouTube. If you're not, sorry. That we have some navy and gold, which matches our Wolfpack colors. So in the fall, we are doing kind of a joint program between Champions Adjust and Wolfpack. So we altered the colors a little bit to kind of keep the same theme. But our fall workout program has been kicked off. So the Champions Adjust, first ever Champions Adjust fall workout program has been kicked off. We're started. We're getting rolling. We got 30 boys ready to just get after it, and we're fired up. So, initial thoughts from that, Coach Bonds?
I'm fired up for it. This is something we've been looking forward to doing for a while. One of the key factors to doing this is there's scientific evidence that shows that, first off, being a multi-sport athlete is better for you because if you play the same sport every day for a year, the same muscles are going to be worked, and it's going to be overused. So at 12, 13, 14, it's always best to give some of those muscles a break. No matter what sport you're into, give those muscles a break, start working on some other muscles, right? So in youth sports, I'm trying to think of a politically correct way to say it, but basically youth sports tournaments are a huge money grab, right?
Say what you feel.
Yeah, no, youth sports tournaments are a huge money grab. USSSA, Perfect Game, 5-Tool, you name it. It's all extremely money grab centric. So a lot of kids are we need to play these tournaments, we need to win these rings, etc., etc. But we're trying to push back against that a little bit, right? Especially in the fall, because if you've played 10, 12 tournaments in the spring, the average pitcher is pitching every weekend, 90 pitches, 90 times. That's 900 to 1,000 pitches in the spring. In what universe should you be doing that again in the fall? Mm-hmm. You shouldn't.
And timelines for those unaware, right? Spring season will end about July,
Early July.
Early July, and we get rolling with fall in the second week of September.
After Labor Day.
So there's not much of a break there, right? That's 2 months. Anyways, continue.
No. It's 100% a part of it too, right? Is, hey, congrats, you just finished your spring season, 1,000 plus pitches, etc., etc. Take 2 months off and then go play more tournaments. Well, that doesn't work for two reasons. One, you're not really giving your body a break. But two, if you're just shutting it down for 2 months, you shouldn't be going back out there and going full speed ahead, right? Mm-hmm. If you give yourself the break that you deserve, then you need to ramp up as well. So then realistically, if you're doing that, you're only giving yourself 2 to 3 weeks of a break after throwing all those pitches. And I'm looking at it from an arm care perspective, but also from a mental health perspective, right? Mm-hmm. Doing something over and over and over and over and over again ultimately becomes tedious and provides burnout from a mental and body perspective. So our goal with our Champions Adjust fall program is to pull back a little bit. Fundamentals, repetition. Give your arm a break. We just completed our first weekend. I asked somebody who I did some work with a couple days ago, like, how much did we throw? He goes, just warm-ups. Exactly. We're only warming up just to get your arm moving again, with the idea that you've taken a couple months off. We don't want you to overdo it. And then this fall program is really looking at the health of the kid. Mm-hmm. And there are 0 tournaments we're playing. We're going to play some intra-squads. We're still deciding how much we're going to allow kids to pitch. And it's going to be basically, hey, how does your arm feel? Are you okay with pitching? Great. You get to throw 30 pitches today. Or, hey, maybe you don't pick up a baseball all fall. And then we'll start up again in November. So, we couple that with a lot of what you're going to talk about, which is our mental training. So I'll just shut up.
Yeah, I think what's important about the fall program is that it allows other kids to play other sports, right? And so we have a lot of guys who are doing football, basketball, and other sports like that. And while they're staying in touch with baseball, which is the important part, they're just staying in touch with baseball. And we're not honing back on the level of development. We're not honing back on the seriousness of it. We're not honing back on the competitiveness of it. We're simply tailoring it and manufacturing it in the best way possible so that we can stay healthy, put our best effort into other sports, but also be present and put our best effort into when we're at the fall program, which is only about 5 hours a weekend. And the time slots are managed so you know when you're doing it, and so you can plan things with your family. You can go to church, you can do whatever you want to do outside of that window, except when you play tournaments, it's very up and down. You don't know what you're doing and everything is out of control. You don't know who you're playing with. You don't know the competitive teams you're playing against. Are they good? They're bad. And so being able to manufacture those types of things inside our very safe, competitive, development-based environment is really the aim of this. And we're not perfect with anything we do. This is kind of the first time we did this a little bit last year.
Yes.
We tweaked it to make it a little bit better this year, and the same moving forward will get better and better as we get feedback from parents and players. But that's kind of the general idea of it. And then mixed with that, we've mixed in mental performance training, right? Which is kind of the basis of Champions Adjust. The podcast and the clothing line were kind of built off of that. And so as a program, right, we're going to focus on hitting fundamentals, fielding fundamentals, pitching fundamentals, base running fundamentals, being a good teammate fundamentals, and the fundamentals of your mental skills. And all of that wraps up into giving you that competitive advantage when you go into your next tournament. If you're just constantly playing tournaments and never reflecting on what you need to improve on, what you're not good at, what you haven't even taken a look at, what you're avoiding because you know you're really bad at it and you just don't even want to look at it, we can then address that stuff in the fall when there's no consequences for mistakes. No consequences for mistakes, not even a little bit. If you make an overthrow, if you don't take the right swing, if you don't put a bunt down, if you don't do this, there's no consequences. No. They're just, hey, here we go.
We dealt with that.
Here's what we can do, and here's how we can get better. And so that, for me, is why I believe what we're doing is the right thing we're doing. And the staff we have is really good.
Oh, God, it's great.
The players, the parents we have so far are amazing. The players we brought over from Wolfpack last year are fantastic. The new additions we have are fantastic. And mixing in that whole group of people who are different body sizes still, different skill levels still, integrating the maturity of those players and allowing those things to flourish and grow in that environment at a beautiful facility like John Paul II. So shout out to John Paul II for letting us use their facility. That's what I think about it, and I'm really excited about it. Obviously, that's why we spend our weekends wanting to do it and putting our time into it. And I wanted to explain that for some people who just love the pod and listen to it and are thinking about maybe their own fall program or their own youth sports or their own kids, or for the new listeners we have who just got introduced to Champions Adjust and what it might be over the past couple weekends.
To your point, I think that's one of the cooler things about what we're doing right now is where we have a lot of new. I think part of youth baseball is you're going to lose players, right?
Yeah.
You have kids who don't return.
It just happens. It's part of the deal.
And we had a few of those, which, no love lost. I care deeply about every kid that we coach. But they went off to different programs. But we gained 12 new kids in this that are ready for next year. So really, we actually brought in 16 new kids overall for the program, for this fall program. Who are not familiar with our coaching tactics and our mentality. And so you see some of these kids who are relatively new to us, a couple of which have actually played for us in the past, who come in, and they understand what we're like. But, you see them make a throwing error or not, try to get around the baseball and then make an error. And they're just like, you can feel their anxiety. Just, oh my, hey, take a breath. Doesn't matter, man. Your footwork is all we're looking at right now. I don't care what your glove does right now. I don't care. I can tell you exactly why you overthrew the bag. Like we're doing some throwing drills that are 30 feet tops. And a couple of them went over my head as I was playing first base. And I'm 6'2", so if you throw over my head, then that means it wasn't a very good throw.
Pretty high.
And it's like, hey, yeah, you dropped your arm, but who cares? Like we'll get there. But your footwork looked good, your glove work looked good. Like it's fine. Like take a breath. We're here to work on specifics. We have a phenomenal coaching staff. We brought back Dalen Holt, who was
we brought back Hudson. Hudson wanted to play with us.
Okay, you're right.
Hudson wanted to
separate them completely in my mind.
Well,
for what it's
Hudson enjoyed Wolfpack baseball, and he wanted to return. So that's why his father is returning
coach,
also.
And I really do, in my mind, I don't look at on the baseball field. I do not look at Dalen as Hudson's father, which I think it says a lot about Dalen as a coach.
For sure, absolutely, it does. I
completely forget that that's his father.
Right. Because he's trying to teach everyone.
Right. He's a phenomenal coach. He went to Texas A&M University. He's in their Athletic Hall of Fame. He got up to he was drafted by the A's, got up to AAA with the Dodgers. Been around the game, and he was an outfielder, and he's just a really strong wealth of knowledge as an outfielder. And so having him in the outfield, we have somebody by the name of Coach Jay who just joined us, who was a Division II and Division III head coach, just moved from New York, Hudson Valley, which is where he was coaching most recently. And so having them join you from the mental perspective, Coach Lovell, who's just a baseball guru, myself, I keep time on the field, and that's
you add a lot of value.
I'm a pitching first kind of person, but we're being very careful about the arm care right now, so I do a lot of timekeeping and things like that.
Well, there's a lot of stuff that goes on outside of practice that needs to get done, what most people don't think about, which is also part of running a program / organization / business, which is what we are running here.
And all that stuff like that. Yeah,
we're running a business
and stuff on the background. But yeah, it's just a really good staff of wealth of knowledge for anybody. We have kids the ages of from 12 to 15 right now working out with us, and they're all there's a couple kids who are going to be going to high school who are in high school, and it's like, hey, they're working out with us in between their JV games, and I'm looking like, hey, these are things that you need to take to practice. Like you're learning how to play middle infield better for your high school practices,
right? Because
of the coaching staff that we're providing you with, and it's an honor to be a part of something like that. It's really cool to be a part of something that we're not going out saying, hey, we need to win rings. Hey, we need to win these because it's going to make our organization look better. No, we're going to compete against each other because we have a lot of talent here. and it's going to get everybody to rise to the occasion. And we have a great coaching staff who's going to help these kids understand the game better. And that's, I just love being a part of something like that. That's what baseball should be all about, right?
Yeah.
Enjoying yourself and learning the game.
Right.
That's what it should be all about. It's not always about that, as a lot of our listeners, I'm sure, see day to day or every so often. It's not always about that. And we read stories and we see it live. But being able to create our own little bubble of baseball development for a couple months. Just say, take a step back.
Yeah.
Enjoy yourself, learn the game, get better, and then we'll get after it in the spring.
Right, because competition is important. Going out and playing games against really good teams is all important, right? Because you have to test your skills against other folks, because that's really what the sport is about, right?
Sure.
You're going against other people and you're competing. But the only way to compete at the highest level or bring out the best in yourself or be the best version of yourself as a baseball player is to hone in on the fundamentals,
right?
Repetition, repetition, repetition. Now, if you're thinking about what are the fundamentals as just a human being, and then you can relate it to baseball if you're not maybe a baseball person, right? If you want to have greatness, you have consistency on the fundamentals, which are eating well, moving well, sleeping well, and thinking well, right? Those are your fundamentals. If you can dial in on those 4 things as a person, everything in your life is going to get exceptionally better. And the same thing goes for any sort of athlete, business person. You want to think about your core fundamentals. What are those things? How can I get the best at those and be the best at those at the most consistent pace I can be at? And then everything else grows from there. So if you want to think about it as any aspect of your life, any domain of your life, that's really what it is about. And if we can do that with inside of sport, outside of sport, in our relationships, and be great at the fundamentals, then everything else is benefited from that place. So that's really the theme of what we're trying to talk about with our fall program, and really with everything that we're trying to teach.
Yes.
And so I have a story to tell, but before I get to that story, you want to talk about Albert Pujols?
Our Pujols.
Yeah.
Yes, I do. Oh my God, he's
very
3
excited
home runs
about it.
away from hitting 700.
But
This guy is insane. Okay.
wait, I'm first sorry.
Oh.
I have to ask you a first question before we get into the Pujols thing. Someone says that Aaron Judge is going to hit more home runs than
God,
Albert
no,
Pujols.
he's 30 years old.
Can you just talk about? Can you just squash that,
Aaron
please?
Judge is a phenomenal baseball player. I saw on Twitter recently somebody's like, "Oh, Aaron Judge is better than Albert Pujols." Cool. Prime Aaron Judge is better than 42-year-old Albert Pujols. 100%. Yes. Aaron Judge.
Prime Aaron Judge is better than 42-year-old Albert Pujols. Sure.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So Aaron Judge career home runs. He currently has 215 home runs
In his career. At age 30.
He's 30 years old. Somebody said that, and there's a lot of people, Aaron Judge is going to hit more home runs. I've only seen one person say that, and I saw him get ratioed F by the comments. Like, you're an idiot. There's no way that's going to happen. No. He'd have to hit like 48 to 50 home runs per year for the next 10 years and play through 40, consistently being great.
Right.
To hit 700 home runs. He's not going to do it.
Yeah, remember Albert started his career with hitting 30 home runs every single year for like 10 straight years.
Insane.
And that's why he won 3 MVPs and like 2 World Series.
Yeah.
And that was like before he was 30 years old.
Yes. And then he went and made his money. And actually, Jim Edmonds was saying on the broadcast yesterday, what if he hadn't left St. Louis? He could have hit like 800. I was like, well, maybe.
The body still breaks down.
The body breaks down, yeah. Like,
no matter what city you're in.
he still hit 30 to 40 home runs out several years when he was in LA.
Right, that's why
with
he got
the Angels
to
specifically.
Yeah.
No, so
anyways, back to Albert.
Before the season, Albert was there. Okay, what's he gonna do? He's sitting at what is 700 minus 21 is 679. He was at 679 home runs. Everybody's like, well, is he gonna retire? Thank you. Is he gonna retire? Is he gonna contribute somewhere? Where is he gonna go? Well, last year, the Cardinals were like, oh, our Pujols, we can have him, but we have no DH, and we have Paul Goldschmidt, who's significantly better baseball player today than Albert Pujols is. That's not,
Right. It's not a knock on anyone.
He's going to be the National League MVP this year. So you can't replace one with the other. But then the DH came in and everybody's like, oh, St. Louis can grab him. Okay, well, what is he going to offer? His body's really broken down. So let's see what happens here. And so the Cardinals signed him, and I was actually watching the spring training game when they signed him, and then he showed up and he walked down from the clubhouse and walked down the line. There was a big standing ovation from all the Cardinals fans out in Palm Beach. Really cool stuff. West Palm Beach is where their spring training facility is. It's like, okay, this is a nostalgia hire or signing. Like, okay,
Yeah.
cool. Welcome back. His final year. Maybe he hits 3, 4, 5 home runs. He can be a platoon DH just for lefties because his average is like 80 to 90 points higher against lefties than it was righties. And
But it's also an immediate boost in morale.
Right.
It's also an immediate boost in leadership.
the manager, Ali Mormau, was really close. He was young in the clubhouse when.
So those two things are immediately
yes.
boost. But you don't know about his performance at the beginning of the year. You got no clue.
But there's like no shot he's going to hit 700. He's not hitting 21 home runs.
That's a
this year.
lot of home runs.
And then he had, like 5 or 6?
Relatively speaking, right? 20
Yes.
home runs in a season.
Yes.
Freddie Freeman, who's one of the best players in the league, just hit his 20th home run today.
There you go.
And he's in his prime.
Meanwhile, Aaron Judge hit his 57th last night.
Right.
But that's, he's having a different season. And we can talk about his financial motivations of hitting that many home runs.
But anyways, I just want to make that relatable,
Yeah.
like how hard it is
It's
to hit
extremely tough to do.
20 home runs in the
At
major league
42
level.
years old, when you're not getting constant at bats, so one of the tougher things to do in baseball is be a bench bat, to be a platoon bench bat, not seeing at bats every day because major league pitching has not gotten easier over the years. We talk about how the athletes are different now than they used to be, and then you ask, okay, how would Hank Aaron deal with a splitter that was going 97 miles per hour? How would Freddie Freeman fare in the 1960s? Because Freddie Freeman has adjusted significantly to these guys, and he's one of the better hitters in baseball,
Right?
If not the best hitter in baseball. So it's the same old argument: how would Wilt Chamberlain fare in today's game versus LeBron James back then? We can talk about it in any.
Those are hard arguments.
Those are very tough arguments. Point being that it's very difficult to hit well when you're not constantly seeing pitching.
Right.
Unless you happen to be one of the greatest hitters to ever live.
Which Albert Pujols is.
So is Barry Bonds, by the way. Should be in the Hall of Fame. Throw that in there.
Please
So-
do. Anytime, any
I
chance
know
we
you-
get, baby. The best player in the history of the game, Barry Bonds.
I love that one.
And very close to him is Albert Pujols.
Yes. So what's happened in August is the Cardinals have been winning a lot since then. They now hold a 7-game lead in the Central. Magic number is 14, I think.
For our new listeners, both Bods and I are Cardinals fans number 1.
Yes, I grew up working for the Texas Rangers. He's born and partially raised in Northern California, so I do support the Rangers. He does support the Giants, but I'm a Cardinals fan, so is he.
Yep.
At the end of the day.
Giants are number 2.
Yeah, honestly, I don't. The Rangers are just. Yeah, I don't know.
I like the Rangers. I love when they win.
Yeah,
It's great for the city, right? It's great for our fans.
The fans are.
But
But whatever.
anyways, that's a whole nother 3-hour podcast.
I think I told you this. I've the current general manager, Chris Young. I clubbied for him for 2 years in Frisco.
Yeah, we like Chris.
Yeah, Chris is awesome. I haven't talked to him in 15 years. Maybe we can get him on here. I'll just go say hi.
Whoa. Okay.
Cool.
We've had one guest on this podcast, and the second guest is the general manager of the Texas Rangers.
It's not gonna happen.
Sure, he'll be right here.
Not
His
gonna
6'7"
happen.
body.
Yeah.
We'll just see you right here.
But anyway, sorry, going back to it, our Pujols since August has just been on a tear. And not only has this guy gone from 5 home runs to 18 home runs, he's hit 11 home runs in the last month and a half. The math might be off. I think my baby monitor is going off. Talk about that development in my life soon too.
Yeah.
But he's helping the team win.
Like most of his home runs are in situations,
Right.
like tight
2 of
situations.
his home runs in the last week were a game tie and a go-ahead home run in the 9th inning against the Pirates. Last night he got up there at the plate with a runner on second and hit a go-ahead base hit in the 3rd inning. Like he's just a little blooper in the right field. He's just that good of a hitter. He's not sitting there saying, I have to hit a home run here. I have 3 left. What he's actually done is he said 2 things. One, hey, if I don't hit 700 home runs, that's okay. I think I've had a pretty good career, and I think people would agree with that whether I hit 700 or not.
Yeah, emphasis on pretty good.
Yeah, pretty good. Last week, He had a game-tying home run in the ninth, and that was 796. And they said, hey, you just tied Alex Rodriguez.
696.
696, whatever.
All good.
696. You just tied Alex Rodriguez for most of all time. And his response was, I don't care who I tied in that. That home run helped us tie the game and give us a chance to win the game. Mm-hmm. That is Albert Pujols. That is vintage Albert Pujols saying, I don't care about my stats. I want to help my team win right now. Mm-hmm. This is the first time he's been on a winning team in like God knows how long.
10 years.
Barely on the Dodgers last year. He was on there for like a month. And it's just one of those, it's just so cool to watch this happening.
That mentality is the reason why he's hitting home runs.
Yes.
Because he is not pressing or thinking about hitting home runs. He's thinking about how fun it is to play with the people he wants to be with in the city that he loves, in the game that he loves, on a winning team where the pressure is a privilege. Yes. And he's basking in that, and he just so happens to be hitting home runs.
Yes.
But he would take a double in that situation. He would take 100%. Anything in that situation that could help his team win. That's all he's focused on. And if it just so happens that he's hitting home runs. It's the same thing about if you are doing something because you love to do it, all of the good things will then just organically come to you.
Yes.
And that's what Albert is showing, and he's being just how you should go about your business. That's what he's showing.
Absolutely.
And he's doing it in the most challenging way as being a pinch hitter. It's really hard to be a pinch hitter.
Pinch hit home runs this season.
It's really hard to be like a field goal kicker or like being a closer, all of these things where you're just getting one shot to do one thing where everyone expects you to succeed 100% of the time, but that's not possible at all, ever. And if you fail, it's like, well, you suck, you should be fired. Right. If you're a field goal kicker or a closer or any of these types of one-off positions.
It happens all the time.
It happens all the time, but you can't be perfect. And these people go in with the right mindset and the right mentality. They've prepared, they've prepped, and when they do succeed, you're like, oh, of course they did. That's what they're supposed to do. But really, it's the hardest thing to do.
Yes. Which shows how great of a teammate Albert Pujols is, but also how great of a hitter he is. Meanwhile, in the same clubhouse, on the same team, his two 2006-2011 teammates from those World Series championships, Adam Wainwright and Yadier Molina. Today is Wednesday, September 14th, and at 7 p.m. tonight, they will officially break the record for most games as battery mates started together.
It's unbelievable.
325 ever. And then here's a fun stat that I recently came across. Let me pull it up because I texted it to my cousin. So, as of this past Sunday, the St. Louis Cardinals have played 2,900 games since Yadier Molina made his MLB debut in 2004. They've been out of, numerically and mathematically, out of playoff contention for 24 games of those 2,900 games.
That's unbelievable.
Ever. Yadier Molina, 2,900 games since 2004. 24 of those games between 2004 and now, they've been mathematically eliminated from the playoffs.
That's incredible.
And a big part of that, of course, was Albert Pujols.
Chris Carpenter was sweet for a while.
Matt Carpenter. Matt Morris.
David Freese. My guy, David Freese. Yeah.
Isringhausen.
What about David Eckstein? Was he there?
Dude, David Eckstein, Florida Lopes guy. Andy Lopez.
One of my favorite Cardinals was Matt Adams.
Dude, he was sitting behind home plate last night.
Was he?
For like 2 innings, and Jim Edmonds was just talking about him, like, oh, when they're out, I got those seats. No, he's chugging beers behind home plate.
Is he not playing ball anymore?
I guess not. I don't know.
He was a stud for a little bit.
He was a super stud for a little bit, yeah. But anyway, it's really cool that tonight Yadier Molina and Adam Wainwright will break the MLB record of 324 games between battery mates, which they tied last week. That they will break that today, and that's one of those are one of those stats. There's certain stats that are like, oh, nobody's gonna break that.
Yeah.
Cal Ripken Jr.'s Iron Man record. Pete Rose's also should be in the Hall of Fame. Hits.
Barry Bonds' home run record. Barry Bonds' MVP record. Yeah. Barry Bonds only being 400, 400, and 500, 500.
Yeah. A lot of Barry Bonds stuff. And then Molina, Wainwright.
Yeah.
Is a big one. Actually, I didn't know this until recently. Albert Pujols currently holds a record for grounding into the most double plays in a career. It's like 424 times in his career he's grounded into a double play.
So that goes to show you that if you want to be great, if you want to be excellent, if you want to be the best in the world, sometimes you're not going to get it done.
Sure.
And that's okay.
Yes.
And that's part of the work.
Yep.
In other news,
you're
a father now.
I am a father. Mark Mael Bodzin was born on August 19th, 2022 at 6:41 p.m.
Amazing.
He is going to be 1 month old in 2 days. So the day that this comes out, he'll be 1 month old.
Beautiful.
He's already out of his newborn diapers. He's about out of the 1-up diapers. He's already growing out of his 3-month clothes. He's in the 99th percentile in height since our last check, and 76th percentile in weight. He's a freaking dude.
Full send.
Full send.
Full send for Big Mark.
He's awesome though, man. He's my beautiful wife Lulu is taking the brunt of it. She's
shout out to Lulu.
She's doing a lot of the nighttime feedings because she's better at it. And I do what I can to help during the day, of course. And yeah, we're a big old happy family now, man. It's crazy to have a human being depend on me. This weird thing that he just, he loves Lulu more because she can feed him. Like I can't, my nipples don't produce milk for some reason. Tried, just doesn't do it. Actually, 2:30 in the morning, I picked him up and I was gonna go get him, go make him a bottle, and he straight up latched onto my right nipple. I'm like, nah, dude, that ain't gonna work. Because newborns, what they do is they look around, they're trying to find the bottle or find the nipple, and it just latches onto my right nipple.
That's hilarious.
It's like, I tried. I looked at him, I was like, you ain't gonna like that.
Yeah. Mark. Mark.
But yeah, man. So, Mark, named after my late father who passed away back in October 2017. Middle name Mael, named after his grandfather who is still alive, Mael Cifuentes. Lulu's father, my father-in-law, great man, great namesake, Mark Mael Bodzin. 1 month this Friday.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
It's a beautiful addition to the family.
Yeah, we gotta give him some Champs Adjust
onesie.
Yeah, Champs Adjust onesie sounds great. And he's your nephew. So.
I can get him a onesie.
Great, let's do it.
Oh, you want
to do 3 to 6 months? This kid is growing.
Yeah, you gotta tell me what size to get.
Yeah, I will.
Okay,
would love that.
And I would like to end this episode on just a quick story that kind of filled my heart up a little bit.
Yeah.
So we'll talk about this more next time when we do kind of some interviews back and forth. But as a quick recap, I stopped playing baseball in 2014 when I finished my Division I career at South Dakota State, then had a not so good tryouts with the Atlanta Braves. That's why I didn't get signed. And then I just decided that was it. And I moved on into professional wrestling. Yeah. And that was the last time I thought about baseball I thought was going to be forever. And then a lot of things happened in my life. I moved back to Texas. I found Coach Bodzin. We reconnected, and he reintroduced me. He reintroduced me to baseball, which has been one of the greatest blessings of my life so far at age 30. And that was about, what'd you say, 2 years ago?
We met fall of 2020.
So fall of 2020, I didn't want to look at baseball. I was very resentful about the sport. I wasn't really watching it. Wasn't having a lot of conversations with my friends about it. And Coach Bodzin was coaching, and he was like, hey, you want to come out to the facility? You want to do this? Maybe you want to coach in the fall. Maybe you want to help me do this. Maybe you want to help me do that. And it just kind of snowballed. And I just started falling in love with the game again. Started watching it again. Started talking about it with my friends. Started thinking about it more often, and started being very grateful for my career and the things it taught me, led me into pro wrestling, led me to my best friends in the whole wide world. Started thinking about all these things that you don't think about when you get really bitter about something. You can't see the totality of the situation. And then it just advanced from there, advanced into this podcast, into this business, into Wolfpack, into us trying to do our best to be responsible for these young men that we coach, us to having this unbelievable friendship that I didn't know was possible or needed, and I say that all because I decided to join a men's league, and I had my first game a couple days ago over the weekend on Sunday, and just being on the baseball field, like actually playing in a game, just like made it all seem so real, and it was so fun. And I never thought I would be on the field again. My mom was like really happy about it too, because she was the one who came to all my games and practiced with me and drove me to stuff and motivated me. And I told her about the game, and the game was amazing, and being around guys who also like baseball, and then talking about coaching baseball and just like being involved in the sport again in a way that's on my terms and how I just love it again. And I really just wanted to share that because it filled my heart with a lot of joy. And when those types of things happen in your life, it's really important to reflect upon them and think about them and how they happened and the people that were involved that made it happen that wouldn't otherwise happen if those people weren't in your life. And so reconnecting with Bodzin, meeting Coach Lovell, and all of that stuff that happened in the middle that wasn't very good, but whatever, it led to what we have now, which is incredible and actually really quite amazing. And being a part of both David's families and getting to knowing those people and Lulu and all of these things are because of baseball. And
it's a beautiful sport.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
It's
Gorgeous sport.
I say unbelievable a lot, but I don't actually mean that. It's like super believable, but I didn't know that it was possible.
Surreal.
You know what I mean?
That's a good word for it.
Like when I talked about you being a dad.
Yeah.
Like it's not unbelievable that you guys are parents.
It's surreal.
Because I knew you would be parents. Yeah. Because that's what people who love each other and get married and want to raise a family and are responsible people do.
Yeah.
But you did it, and so it's like
sure.
You know what it's like?
Yeah,
it's like, oh, you have this, you did it now, and so that's what I feel.
Just say the word surreal.
Surreal.
Yeah, thank you.
It is more than that, though.
Okay.
It's like I can't think of a bigger word, like Surreal 3000.
Surreal Infinity.
Yes.
Oh, that should be a new company name, Surreal Infinity.
I don't have enough time to build another company. But that's what I feel, and I wanted to share that. And
I think the question that I think everybody's going to have for you regarding this, the only question that should be answered is, after one game, what is your career WAR in men's league?
I went 2 for 4.
2 for 4?
I only fell out of the box once.
Ooh. How was the pitcher?
Dude, they were bad. The team was.
But what is your WAR?
I don't know.
Plus what?
How do I calculate it? Yeah, we won 11-1.
Ooh.
Yeah.
How many runs did you produce?
I scored 1 run and I got 1 RBI.
I don't know how to calculate it. I just wanted to know.
But the team we played was pretty average, so it was like a good game to get my swing down, my timing down.
Who did I pitch on this team that you're on?
Oh my God, yeah, let's go. Send it, dude.
Dude, I don't have the time for it, but I would love to.
Dude, these guys, like the starting pitcher for the other team probably threw 160 pitches.
Seriously? Oh, I threw 50 in the
Our guys only threw a couple innings, but
how was the pitching on your team?
Good.
They throw hard?
Yeah.
Oh,
I don't know what hard is now because when I saw the guy I faced warming up, I was like, oh, he throws really hard. Mm-hmm. And then I got in the box, I was like, oh, that's like 60.
That's fair.
So it just looked a lot harder.
I pump it in like 70, 75.
But I want to say the second pitcher for us pitched at UTD.
Okay.
And the first pitcher played at Stephen F. Austin, but he only played there for 1 semester. He knows Jamie.
Okay.
But anyways, it was amazing, and I don't know when I'm going to play again based on my schedule, but I just wanted to share that kind of thing to kind of put a bow on this episode.
Yeah.
And how amazing this all is, and how blessed I am, and how important Champions Adjust is, and family, and this podcast, and teaching people these things. So, any last minute comments, Coach Bods?
No. No, I'm glad that we can make this happen. I hope that everybody enjoys listening to us. It really does take effort to come together to do this, but also I realize when it's been a while how much I take for granted just this hour I get to sit here and talk baseball with you. Mm-hmm. And it means a lot to me as I hear my son buzzing in the background. So I hope that y'all are enjoying this. We'll keep it going. I'm happy that we can make this happen today.
Yeah, send us questions, comments, things you want us to go over, talk about. But share this with a friend, a close friend, a baseball buddy, a peer, a loved one, anyone. And subscribe, like, comment. All that matters. We appreciate it very much. But most importantly, please remember always and forever that champions adjust. Boom.